Hello. All right, let's kick it in the dick. So the ideas boom is here. It's quite an exciting time in Australia's history. Innovation, that's what's going to make this country great again. I'm not entirely sure if it is going to boom, though. There's a few things that have made me a little bit sceptical. I went to the launch of this thing a few months ago, and it was great, right? A lot of pollies, having a good time. Buffet was delectable, but there was just a few things that weren't quite right. The first thing is that everyone there was 50 years old, wearing a suit, grey hair. Like, I get, you got to get the bosses and the boffins on board, but there's fucking 22 million of us. Like, we should be appealing to the masses if we want to make innovation our thing. The other thing is that no one seemed keen to define innovation. No one wanted to, they all skirted around it. All they did was point to these amazing examples of people that had done innovation. This guy made a sausage machine that he sold for $1 million, or this chick sold an app that meows for $1 trillion. Like, everyone's just focused on the outcome, and I think that is the biggest barrier to us learning to innovate. Our bosses are out there saying, "Oh, the next robo-drone on my fucking desk this afternoon," and that's kind of bullshit. Because innovation is not about that final product. Innovation is a process, not a product, And I think if we can understand that, if we can use that ourselves, then it makes us all capable of innovation. As long as we're trying to just fucking come up with it out of nowhere, it's never going to happen. Because that's kind of where our heads are at the moment. If we can beat that, then we can all be innovators and we'll do some fucking cool shit, right? So at the moment, like, you look at history in Hollywood and it tells us, an apple fell out of a tree and landed on Newton's head. Then he came up with the gravitational theory. But I don't know if you've seen the formula for gravitational theory. Looked like an algebra book, did a shit. It's fucking complicated. You're not going to come up with an innovation scrolling through Facebook on the bus, right? There's a few things you need to do. First, the thing you need is a problem. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be small, it can be something you noticed at work, it can be something massive, a social issue that affects us all. Find a problem and dig deep. Work out who it's really affecting, why it's affecting them, how it's affecting them. If you can ask why 5 times, you can generally get to a point where you know what the problem is, right? There was a guy, old mate here, who it was either this guy or a lifestyle blogger on the North Shore, I'm not sure, but he said that if I had an hour to save the world, I would spend 55 minutes defining the problem and 5 minutes coming up with a solution. And that's kind of spot on, because if you get a problem pointy enough, then it'll actually solve itself. You don't have to do any work. It's fucking awesome, right? But the second phase to move on is the solution. If you haven't come up with the solution already, there's a few ways in. The easiest way is just to steal someone else's idea. They've worked, there's some lateral industry out there that you can just pull the idea and apply it to yours. They've worked too long and too hard on that idea for you not to steal it, right? The other thing you can do is just fluke it. Coincidence has this wonderful way of finding people who apply themselves. I've got a good example of this, but I've only got 15 seconds on this slide, so come and see me later if you want to hear about it. But this is my favourite thing to do, is collaborate. It's amazing how far you can get when you've got a bunch of people all working on the same problem. Everyone puts their ideas on the table and they're all shit, but it doesn't matter. Because the real magic happens when you start linking those ideas together. Then you go 2, 3, 4, 5 steps further than you ever would have alone. The other good thing is when you've got other people with a vested interest in your idea, they all get behind it too. They push it through and you don't have to do all the fucking work. It's epic. Because this is the hardest part, is the push. That's the third part of the innovation process. You build a prototype, you test it on someone, you find out it's shit, you fix it, you do it again, you go round and round in circles. They call it the valley of death, or the trough of despondency, which I think sounds even worse. It's where you go to drink when you're really down. It's where you run out of money and time and energy and hope. But the great thing is that if you can get through the trough of despondency, you can actually change the world. And I know that sounds like the kind of bullshit you expect to hear at a thing like this, but It's true, because when you solve a genuine problem, you have a genuine impact. And I think that if we all go out there, find a genuine problem, find a solution and push it through to the end, then we can all be innovators. And I'll tell you what, with 22 million innovators, that'd be a fucking boom. Thank you.